Hey everyone, Kat here again, and yes, I'm wearing the same outfit as before because I'm recording this back to back with the Poe poem that I read for y'all. That one was kind of fun, but I'm loving the tales, and we have, if you're on Netflix and you haven't been under a rock, then you know that there's a series, The Fall of the House of Usher, on Netflix, which of course is based off of Poe. It's 8 episodes, and each one is based on a story by him. So it's not actually completely the fall of the House of Usher. It's alright, we did this about kind of sort of this story. So I'm gonna let that kind of dictate what I read for y'all. Though also we're going by the length of the stories because it takes me about 3 minutes to read a page to y'all because these are kind of big with some small lettering. And some of those, I'd love to read The Fall of House of Usher, but I don't think y'all want to listen to me for that long. If you do, let me know, because some of these, I try to keep them 8 pages or less. Most of what they're, basing off of is some of his longer short stories. They did the Telltale Heart and the Mask of Red Death, which I have read for y'all. They're in the playlist that I will link down below. But most of these are, I looked at them all right, I'll read these in order for y'all. And, I think the shortest one that I haven't already done for y'all was, 13 pages. So you're looking at, a 45-minute video of that one. So if you still want those, let me know. If not, I found a short one that I haven't read for y'all. It's The Black Cat, which I used to have a black kitty. My little itty-bitty Pandora, though she didn't know that was her name, or that she was named after the Anne Rice character before she, found religion and then came back and made Pandora obnoxiously weak. But this one it's only 8 pages, so I might have to put up a picture of my little kitty there. She's black and white and feisty and probably very fitting of this story, and we'll see if it's good and see if we get some puppy company, because neither of my kitties are particularly cuddly. They're mostly nappy and leave me alone, I'm licking my butt. So, for the most wild, yet most homely narrative which I am about to pen, I neither expect nor solicit belief. Mad indeed would I be to expect it, in a case where my very senses reject their own evidence. Yet, mad am I not, and very surely do I not dream. But tomorrow I die, and today I would unburden my soul. My immediate purpose is to place before the world, plainly, succinctly, without a comment, a series of mere household events. In the consequences, these events have terrified, have tortured, have destroyed me. Yet I will not attempt to expound them. To me they have presented little but horror. To many they will seem less terrible than baroques. Hereafter, perhaps, some intellect may be found which will reduce my phantasm to the commonplace. Some intellect more calm, more logical, and far less excitable than my own, which will perceive, in the circumstances I detail with awe, nothing more than an ordinary succession of very natural causes and effects. From my infancy I was noted for the docility and humanity of my disposition. My tenderness of heart was even so conspicuous as to make me the jest of my companions. I was especially fond of animals. Well, what non-sociopath isn't? They're just the cutest and the snuggliest. And was indulged by my parents with a great variety of pets. With these I spent most of my time, and never was so happy as when feeding and caressing them. This peculiarity of character grew with my growth, and in my manhood I derived from it one of my principal sources of pleasure. To those who have cherished an affection for a faithful and sagacious dog, I have to look that one up, I've never heard that word before, I need hardly be at the trouble of explaining the nature or the intensity of the gratification thus derivable. There is something in the unselfish and self-sacrificing love of a brute which goes directly to the heart of him who has had frequent occasion to test the paltry friendships and gossamer fidelity of mere man. He's speaking my language this time. I married early and was happy to find in my wife a disposition not uncongenial with my own. Observing my partiality for domestic pets, she lost no opportunity of procuring those of the most agreeable kind. We had birds, goldfish, a fine dog, rabbits, a small monkey, those creep me out, and a cat. Why are they trying to keep me as a pet? That's not nice. They're probably not even going to pet me and feed me properly. This latter was a remarkably large and beautiful animal, entirely black and sagacious to an astonishing degree. Excuse me. In speaking of his intelligence, my wife, who at heart was not a little tinctured with superstition, made frequent allusions to the ancient popular notion, which regarded all black cats as witches in disguise. Not that she was ever serious upon this point, and I mention the matter at all for no better reason than it happens just now to be remembered. Pluto, that was the cat's name, was my favorite pet and playmate. I alone fed him, and he attended me wherever I went about the house. It was with difficulty that I could prevent him from following me through the streets. Our friendship lasted in this manner for several years, during which my general temperament and character, through the instrumentality of the fiend intemperance, had, I blush to confess, experienced a radical alteration for the worse. I grew, day by day, more moody, more irritable, more regardless of the feelings of others. I suffered myself to use intemperate language to my wife. At length, I even offered her personal violence. My pets, of course, were made to feel the change in my disposition. I not only neglected, but ill-used them. What? For Pluto, however, I still retained sufficient regard to restrain me from maltreating him, as I had made no scruples of maltreating the rabbits, the monkey, or even the dog. He gonna make me go John Wick on him, except for making John Wick look more like cursed Sleeping Beauty. When by accident or through affection they came in my way. But my disease grew upon me. For what disease is like alcohol? And at length even Pluto, who was now becoming old and consequently somewhat peevish, even Pluto began to experience the effects of my ill temper. One night, returning home, much intoxicated, from one of my haunts about town, I fancied that the cat avoided my presence. I seized him, when, in his fright at my violence, he inflicted a slight wound upon my hand with his teeth. The fury of a demon instantly possessed me. I knew myself no longer. My original soul seemed at once to take its flight from my body, and a more than fiendish malevolence, gin-nurtured, thrilled every fiber of my frame. I took from my waistcoat pocket a penknife, opened it, grasped the poor beast by the throat, and deliberately cut one of its eyes from its socket. Okay, yeah, feel free to, leave at this point, because he done got rude. That's a little upsetting. I blush, I burn, I shudder, while I pen the damnable atrocity. When reason returned with the morning, when I had slept off the fumes of the night's debauch, I experienced a sentiment half of horror, half of remorse, for the crime of which I had been guilty. But it was, at best, a feeble and equivocal feeling, and the soul remained untouched. I again plunged into excess, and soon drowned in wine all memory of the deed. In the meantime, the cat slowly recovered. The socket of the lost eye presented, it is true, a frightful appearance, but he no longer appeared to suffer any pain. He went about the house as usual, but, as might be expected, fled in extreme terror at my approach. I had so much of my old heart left as to be at first grieved by this evident dislike on the part of a creature which had once so loved me, but this feeling soon gave place to irritation, and then came, as if to my final and irrevocable overthrow, the spirit of perverseness. Of this spirit philosophy takes no account. Yet I am not more sure than my soul lives that I am the perverseness, that I am that perverseness is one of primitive impulses of the human heart. Getting a little tongue-tied there. One of the indivisible primary faculties or sentiments which give direction to the character of man, who has not 100 times found himself committing a vile or a silly action, for no other reason than because he knows he should not. That's kind of what we do as children. Have we not a perpetual inclination, in the teeth of our best judgment, to violate that which is law, merely because we understand it to be such? This spirit of perverseness, I say, came to my final overthrow. It was this unfathomable longing of the soul to vex itself, to offer violence to its own nature. Excuse me. To do wrong for the wrong's sake only, that urged me to continue and finally to consummate the injury I had inflicted upon the unoffending brute. One morning, in cold blood, I slipped a noose about its neck and hung it to the limb of a tree. Okay, yeah, we're not finishing that one. Yeah, that's a little too dark for me. I was hoping that was going to be the end of it, but no. Yeah, let me know if y'all want to finish that, or I'm sure there's a link somewhere, but that's not my kind of story, and that's probably not yours either. So, yep. Maybe we'll try one of the other stories that they based an episode off of. And, well, now you have a warning. If you choose to finish that story, you know what it's about. You know it's dark and violent and not nice to animals. Which, no, that does... You start violating the animals, I'm done. So, yeah, I will see you soon in another video that will be much happier. And hopefully your reading is going well. Bye!